Having 6 people on a textbook has been both a blessing and a huge challenge as we begin to bring this all together. But I think we all bring something really unique and different. When Lon and I started, we kind of saw ourselves as 2 different sides of the coast. He's in California. I was at Michigan at the time and then moved to New York. So, sort of having that continental vision. Lon brought with him also this idea of really incorporating the Pacific world, including Asian Americans, as an essential part of this story as well. In addition to his immigration background, a really strong focus on the latter part of the 20th century. As we added people in, it was very important to me that we brought in a colonial historian who did borderlands, that we thought about the United States in the early period and in the colonial period, even prior to the United States, as a continental nation. And that was what was going on in Florida, in the northern borderlands along Canada, in the U.S.-Mexico borderlands, or what would become the U.S.-Mexico borderlands, that had to really be prominent in the story that we were telling for the first volume of this textbook. So bringing on Steve Hackle was really essential to that project, and that's worked out really well in the project. As we added people onto it, I think we were really just fortunate to bring Carl Guarneri. And Carl has been such a leader in thinking about putting U.S. history in a global context. He's one of the earliest scholars who's been thinking about how to teach this and how to think that. And he's been such a leader in helping us to really formulate our ideas as we put them into practice through each of these chapters. The last 2 people we brought on brought some really interesting aspects to the textbook as well. Laura Belmonte came in with a very deep background in diplomatic history, and to some extent I didn't think we even thought we needed that, and then we brought Laura in, and she was so important in helping us to really flesh out those international aspects, the foreign policy pieces of that. And I think when she came into the project and Carl, we really began to see that global piece come together and become such an integral part of the project. The other thing that Laura brought to the project, and I think became very important to us as we began to pull it all together, that was really important for us to tell the long history of gay and lesbian people as well. That this was just not a phenomena that happened in the post-45 period, but that this is a really important part of U.S. social and cultural history. And I think that's a piece Laura's own work has really helped us to bake into other aspects of the social history of this piece. Finally, having Ellen join the project was really an important piece of this. I think not only her own particular background and thinking about the early national period, the colonial period, but Ellen has sort of been our real conscious about always thinking about women's history, and that women's history is so essential to the story that we're telling here. And it's not, again, something that you sort of add in or put icing on the cake, but that it is constantly women's history is baked into each and every one of these chapters in a really important way. Incredibly diverse group of scholars, both across time period, the way we think about history and approach history has really come together. And I think we're all the better for having that kind of diverse group of people.